Okay, so today on the Venom Workshop, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to start restoring this villain chopper to its former glory, and it's had a couple miles put on it. It's not brand new anymore. Unfortunately we don't sell this bike anymore, but it is a lot of fun to drive. It's got about 500 miles on it, but for this type of bike, 500 miles is a lot. Um, You'll see the rear fender has taken some smashes. It's broken a couple places. I'm gonna take that off and we're gonna fix that. I'm not gonna replace it because you can't get parts for this bike anymore. So anything that breaks on this bike, I'm gonna have to machine it or build it. No matter what, it's gonna have to be revamped from another bike or whatever I can find. We're going to tidy all these wires and stuff up. This has an underglow kit on it. We're going to keep that on, but we're going to adjust everything and make it look a lot nicer. This bike hasn't started in 2 years, probably, so the gas in it's at least 2 years old. The carb on this is probably super dirty. I'm probably going to change the carb. We'll put something different on it. We'll get it away from the stock and maybe something like a really nice nibby race carb on there. It's going to take a little bit of work. There's like stuff like that hanging down. I don't like that sort of thing. I would like this to be all tidy and beautiful. We can shine up a lot of stuff here, clean up a lot of the paint, and especially like where the chrome is and stuff, we can get that all cleaned up. So we're going to start taking this apart and taking a look at it and seeing what's going on with it. I knew the battery is dead in it, so we're going to take the battery out. We'll see if we can charge it. If we can't charge it, we'll just replace it. But let's, like I said, let's get started. There's some things I do right away want to take care of, like all this emission system stuff. I want to clean up, maybe make it look a little bit nicer. And like I said, there's some broken parts. It's not running. It needs a tune-up. So this is things that if you find a bike type thing, this one's in really good shape, actually. It could be a lot worse. I've seen bikes in really bad shape, but everything can be brought back. So let's get started on it here. I'm going to take the carb off first. I want to get a look at what's going on inside the carb. And it's not a hard carb to take off. I just need a 10 mil, I think. Yeah, just a 10 mil wrench and my hands, and we can get started. So most likely what's happened in this, especially after it's been sitting for 2 years, like I said, I did start it yesterday. It didn't start with the gas that was in the carb. I had to hit it a shot of ether in there just to get it to fire, and then as soon as the ether burned out, it just shut right off. So no gas is getting through the carb, and I'm guessing probably a jet scummed up from old gas sitting in there. So let's get started. We're going to pull this all apart. Like I said, there's usually panels that go right here, so I'm probably going to build something that'll cover this area right here. But yeah, so this is going to be, like I said, our new project. So let's get started here. I want to get the carb out first, so I'm just going to grab a wrench. I'm probably going to need a Phillips screwdriver too. I'll bring a 12 mil wrench as well. I think what I'm going to do too is turn the bike around so it's in the light a little better, and we'll get started. Alright, that's a little better. So let's take this out. I've already popped the filter off this yesterday, so it'll pop right out. There we go. I can take that off of there. If you're wondering what this is, that's a pressure relief line for your the rear of your engine. So if it builds up a lot of pressure, it relieves off at the end there. So that's what that is. There's a pressure relief. So okay, so I pulled the carb out. It's very easy carb to pull out. So I've got it here. I'm going to bring it over to the bench, and let's get it open and take a look and see what's going on with it. Okay, so I couldn't wait any longer, and I just ditched the old carb, and I went right to a nibby. This nibby, the bike instantly started. I have my gas tank on it with a little bit of gas in it, but as soon as I put this carb on, it instantly started this bike. And I mean, it sounds this bike instantly better. Tiny touch. But yeah, so if you have a bike that's been sitting for 2 years, look at this. This carb is literally $90. $90. And look at it instantly fired this thing. It is running mint. This bike has never actually ran this good. It's never had this kind of, especially pickup. I was ripping it around in the warehouse here. I can't get it up to speed at all. So when it comes down to something like this, what I want you to do is instantly just change the carb. Just get rid of the old stock carb. Go to a real easy one, a nice one like this, and get it fixed. So yeah, so that's the Nibby carb. So we're going to continue on with this bike in a moment and keep going. Okay, so we're back. So now what we're going to start doing is ripping everything off of this thing. This whole thing is going to be from front to back. I'm fixing this bike. I'm making it look awesome. So one of the first things I'm going to do is take this exhaust off. It's probably a tiny bit hot. I was revving the shit out of this thing. So we're going to get the exhaust off first. Then I want to get it up on a crate. One of the things I don't like about this bike is how it bottoms out. So it seems to just slam down really hard. And that's part of what broke this fender here. So I'm going to go with a heavier rear shock in the back. It's adjustable, so we won't have that bottom out problem anymore. Like I said, I want to clean this whole thing up. This bike is going to look amazing when I'm done. So first things first, I'm going to get the exhaust off, and after that I'm going to take off this fender and everything, but I want to get it up, like I said, on some sort of a stand. So I'm going to go ahead and get that muffler off so I can do that first. This thing is going to be so cool looking when I'm all done. And it's going to just look awesome. So let's get the exhaust off first. I might actually do something with the exhaust when it's off. I had an issue sometimes when I was riding. Let's come down here so you can see. When I was riding, this part of the muffler, if I got too low on the ground, would scrape. So I might do a few cuts and a little bit of welds, make it a little bit different. And here too, I'm gonna, for all underneath here, I might do a couple cuts like I said, and just custom the muffler a little bit so it sits on the machine a little bit. But first off, I might as well just go ahead and start getting it ripped off, and we'll get it all up on my table. I would like everything to be nice and clean looking when I put it back on the bike. So even the muffler and everything is going to be addressed before I put it back on. So I'm going to go ahead and get the exhaust off, and I will be right back. Okay, so I got it up. I got the exhaust off. Now if you look at it, this is kind of the effect when you're riding it. It feels just like that too. It's a very comfortable bike to ride, because you can just kick your feet out just like you were on a Harley and just lean back and go. It actually gets up to highway speed really nice. I know it's just a 250, but it's a 250 that smokes along pretty good. I've had it on the highway a lot of times. I keep up. I can get it up to probably about 70-80 miles an hour and be comfortable riding it. I'm going to try to draw that out and give it a little bit more as I do this. So I will give you top speeds and everything that I do finally get off it when I'm done. So I'm going to, like I said, keep taking parts off here. We're going to get this rear fender off. And this restoration video is not just for a Villain chopper. It will work for everything. It doesn't matter if we were like this one. I'm going to be restoring this. This is an old Ghost. And again, this is a discontinued model, but they do have the new Ghost. It just doesn't look like this. It has a different look to it. but this one's going to get a full restoration too. So it's going to be a whole video series as well. But the Villain is just, it's such a cool looking bike. I want it ready for the summer. We're going to actually use this at some bike shows and stuff this year. So I want it to look pretty sweet when it goes rolling in there. So everything that is not shiny right now will be shiny. Everything that is not clean and looked at and really nice looking is going to be. Swing arm, all this stuff, whatever needs paint is going to get paint. Anything that needs to be fixed, changed, bent, rebent, anything of that stuff is going to be done. Because we're going to, like I said, I want this bike to just look cool. So we're going to get started right now, and I'll keep updating as we're going along, because I want us all to be able to enjoy this video. And so let's get started. So I will be right back. Okay, so we're back with our Villain restoration. You'll notice that I've taken everything off. All the fenders are off, the tank's off. Everything that I'm going to be probably painting. The rims are going to probably come off, and I'm going to paint them as well. This thing is just going to be one mean looking machine. And I'm also going to fabricate a couple panels, because we have a couple panels that are missing. So on this side of the bike, there should be two panels right here, but they're not here. So I'm going to make them. And I make them, I'm going to make them fairly cool. I'm going to want to pop off that battery box, get the battery out of there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm also going to start cleaning up this frame. I want all this cleaned up and nice. It's going to get painted as well. So we're going to get, let's get started. Let's start ripping some stuff off here and get this all started cleaning up. And so I'm going to start doing that now. And then I pulled all of our parts off here. So all these parts here, especially this one's gonna have to be repaired. So it's not a huge job. But we're gonna do it together. We're gonna get that all fixed up and get these all ready to get them painted. Like you can see, this rough on the inside. This bike's actually got some miles on it. It's got I think 1,000 miles on it. So we got all of our old parts that we took off here, our old carb and stuff, and then we got some filler. I like the metal reinforced filler myself. It makes it a little bit stronger, and then the body filler for over when we're touching stuff up. So that's where we're gonna get started. These all rubbers can come off of here, and like I said, let's get started. So we're gonna start ripping some stuff off here. I do want to clean up everything on the back of this. I want to get the engine all cleaned up. So like I said, let's continue with the restoration project and get her done. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start repairing some of our fairings here. Our rear fender here took an awful crack. We're missing a piece up here, so we're just going to build that right in, and then we'll sand it down. We'll make it perfect too. But you can see it got snapped off here, so we want to replace that and get it fixed up. The tank's got some niches and scratches. The only thing I really want to take off the tank is these flames. And it's not that I don't like them there, but I want to clean up this tank and I want to sand it down and get all the little scratches and everything out of it. Like I said, when we paint this thing, I want it to look really nice. I did leave a vote up on TikTok, so you can vote for the color of it. So what we're going to be doing with the bike, I am going to be painting probably a good part of the frame. Some of the parts, especially the rear swing arms, stuff like that, is all going to get painted as well. The forks I'm going to probably leave black, just because they look good black. I'll get rid of that New York safety on there, but I should be able to get it all set up and fixed up, and we'll get it running. But I'm just going to get this set up over here. I want to get some cardboard up here before I start laying some reinforced bodywork on here, so the body filler. So let's get it cleaned up here, get me a cardboard base to work with, and I'll be right back. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to clean it up a bit. And the reason I want to clean it up is because I'm going to put a little bit of crazy glue on there first, or Gorilla Glue. And it's not really going to hold a lot, but I just want these two edges to be together when I start to do the bodywork on it. And the majority of what I'm going to be filling is probably going to be from the bottom, because you don't see the bottom as much. And I'll do it that way. But I want this all clean so that my glue will bond. Right now it's really dirty. I really like brake clean for cleaning stuff like this. Brake clean just cleans all this crap off real good, and then it evaporates and leaves my edges nice and clean. And yeah, I could probably just replace this, but we don't have these parts. These fenders are not easy to come by. Like I said, this bike is discontinued, so I'll just put a little bit of glue. I'll tape it up, make sure it's all nice and solid the way it's supposed to be. And after it's all fixed and solid, I said I'm gonna glue it in a couple places. Then I'll start putting some filler in at the bottom. But I want to make sure that these all go together nice first. And then we can get it started putting back to the way it's supposed to look. There we go. And again, I'll be filling in that hole, so there'll be no hole there. This hole I'll repair as well. This one doesn't need any edges. It actually gets cut here like this to go on the bike, so it's normal. And yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start. I'm going to go ahead and finish cleaning this up. I'll glue it together, give it a little tape, let it set for a bit, and then I can start applying some body filler to it. So right now I'm going to go ahead and get this glued up, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've glued everything. I just wanted to get a base so I could get it stuck together. So it's good and stuck together now. So I'm going to flip it over underneath here, and I'm going to give it a rough sand. I just want to sand it a bit so that when I do put the filler on it, it will have something to grip to, type thing. And I'm going to use the reinforced filler for the back. So all the back here I'm going to use reinforced, and then when I move to the front I'll just use regular filler, and I can clean it up like that. So yeah, and this is good thick plastic. The problem with this plastic I find is it's very brittle, so it doesn't take much to crack it. And I find most motorcycle fairings are like that. They're very easy to crack, the fairings. So I like reinforcing the back of them. So I'm going to go ahead and mix some filler here. So I'm just pulling some filler out. It's not ideal mixing it on cardboard, but I don't have a tray, and I want to kind of start this today. So alright. I'm just going to poke a hole in the hardener here. All right, and it takes a few drops. So I'm going to go ahead and start mixing this. Now, when you work with this stuff, you have to get it on very quickly because it starts to harden very fast. Okay, I'm going to start here. be pretty strong across there. So. And this hole on the bottom, I want to fill it as much as I can, and then I can always just drill it back out. There we go. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to let this all set, and once it sets, I'll clean off my spreader here, and then once it sets, I'll be back and I'm going to do a bit of sanding on it. I wanted to sand it so it bonded to it first, but if you look, I didn't really have to sand it, and I'll show you why. The bottom of the fender is not like the top. It's all rough underneath here, so it should bond okay. So there we go. Wipe that off, so I don't need it on there. But yeah, so we're gonna let that dry and we'll give it a sand. But what I have to do too, so I'm gonna let that dry for a few minutes. Now on this one, you'll notice that I have a broken part on that one. So right where the seat goes, and it goes up to the tank like this, and then where the seat goes, it broke here. So I'm gonna wanna fix that. I wanna put a piece in here. I want the bike to look. So I'm gonna have to build that part. Like I said, I don't have anything I can fall back on for this. There's no parts that we wouldn't have this part. So I'm gonna have to make that piece right here. So I'm gonna get started doing that. I gotta get a few things together, and I'm gonna build that part in there, and we'll get this all fixed up. Okay, so what I did was I went over to another fairing, different bike, but I cut out a corner, and I'm gonna put this corner right in here. I'm gonna reinforce the back of it with a couple of little steel pieces to hold it in place, and then I'll get the filler. But I want to make sure it's cut right. It's not quite right yet, but it's getting to where I want to be with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish doing that, and I'm gonna clean it up, sand it a bit, because just sanding it will get rid of a lot of this stuff. So I'm gonna do that, and I will be right back. Okay, so I got my corner in there. I know it doesn't look straight, but it actually is. This side's off a little bit. So when you do that, there you go. So I'm gonna let that dry. It's starting to dry now. After it's all dry, I'm gonna put a coat in behind on the back, but I want to reinforce it with a steel piece here so that it doesn't snap off. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my steel piece ready, and I'll get that set up right now. And then, like I said, I'll go ahead and put some filler on the back of it. Alrighty, so I'm gonna get that started right now, and I'll be right back. Okay, so what I'm gonna use to reinforce the plastic is just this piece of metal right here. What I'll do is I'll just run it down the back here, and then I'll look at the back side here like that, and then it's gonna come back up so you can get a better look. gonna come like that, and I'll just lay it down over like this. I will bend it into place, so it'll be kind of like this. And then once I have it where I want it, I'll just put a little bit of filler over the top of this, and that'll help strengthen that out too. And it won't interfere with anything. It won't really touch here, so, and it doesn't matter. I'm gonna have it pretty well sitting flush down. I just want to make sure there's something backing that little piece of plastic there, so I'll have it like that. Probably bend that up a tiny bit, just like that. And it'll be somewhat just like that. So I'm just gonna let the glue go here on it dry a little bit more, and then I'll go ahead and I'll strengthen that up. And like I said, I'll use the other. You can notice that it's kind of curved in this side a little bit. I think that's why it snapped. It was leaning in. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get up that. I'm going to let the glue dry a little bit, and then we'll reinforce this. Like I said, put a little bit of putty on there, and let's get her fixed up. Okay, I got a batch of filler made. We'll go ahead and apply it. So I'm going to take a little bit first. Just like that. Just like that. And I can put the rest of my mud on. Sorry if I'm blocking the camera there. There we go. I want to build up that corner down here a bit. And when you're doing this, you don't want to put too much on when you're doing it, because if you think about it, the more you put on, the more you're going to have to sand off. This isn't too bad because I'm just reinforcing a piece of plastic. But when you're building a body or fenders, when you're working with body filler, I've watched guys with tons on, and then you gotta sand all that off. So I don't understand why they do that. So there we go. We've got our Bondo, our body filler drying there. I keep saying Bondo, but it's not Bondo. So now, if I wanted, I could take my tape off. Now, if you look at it, we've got that a nice corner in there. And again, I'm gonna fill this, but I'm gonna use body filler, not what I'm using right now. That's reinforced filler. I'll put some body filler on it when it's done, and that's how I'll build up that corner, and then it'll get painted whatever color TikTok decides. I've left that in the decisions of many followers, and they can figure that out what they want to do, what color I'm going to go, and then I will paint it that color. So right now I've got that corner, it's well started. I can sand it and bring it in. Like I said, don't worry, it isn't straight. This one's kind of straight, this one's not. It does straighten out when it's set up. So we're gonna let that dry, and we'll be right back. All right, so it's been a whole night since I was working with these fairings. Now, if you look at my piece here that I put in and reinforced here from the back, now, if you see, I've got a piece of fairing here that I can work with, and it's incredibly strong. I can hold it up just by that corner. So I'm gonna finish touching it up today. We're gonna sand it. I'm gonna put a little bit more mud on it, on this side. I guess I keep calling it mud, but it's just body filler. And we're gonna get sanded down. But there's another project I wanna do today. And that's going to be, I'm gonna pull these shifters off because I wanna clean them up. So the brake pedal, the whole assembly is gonna come off. I'm actually gonna take the whole brake system off. And on this side, these shifters, there was always kind of a problem with them, so they all kind of always had an issue doing this sort of thing. So I'm gonna come up with a better solution for that and make that a better viable shifter system than what it is right now. And so there, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get started doing that. And yeah, let's just make this thing cool. So I'm gonna get started first over here with the body. I'm gonna do probably a little bit of sanding. And this was kind of raised on the top. Also up here, I'm gonna want to sand a bit. And and then I'm gonna put a little bit of Bondo on it, and I'll, or I get body filler, they say. But anyway, I'm gonna put a little bit of that on. But so I want to just kind of take down the edges. Down here in the bottom too, it's like got a little lip here. There you go. There we go. Very nice. Like I said, I'll give this a skim of body fill. I want to also sand all up here. So I'm going to take this piece and just lay it off to the side for now. And then take all these rubbers off. And you guys can all do this at your own house too. Every car shop has everything you need to do a little bit of body work on your bike. Here in Canada, it's kind of nice because we have a winter. Winter's when you do your stuff on your motorcycle. Get it all set up for the summer again. It's a blizzard outside here today, so perfect timing to do this sort of thing. kind of look like that. We do have a little, still a low spot here, but I'll hit that with some body fill. I want to fill this hole almost completely in. I can always draw a line across from that hole to that hole and drill it, and then we can mount it like that. So it's coming right along here. Probably gonna sand the sides too, and it's because I want to get rid of these. And they put it under, it's under a little dollop of clear coat there, so I won't be able to get it. Oh, maybe. Maybe it'll catch it at this corner, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna probably sand it off. That's a good start. So you guys don't have to watch this, but I'm just kind of showing you what I want to show you what it's like. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna keep sanding at this. It's gonna take time, and then I'll move over to my other part, and I'm gonna start putting some body fill. But I want to get everything all nice and scuffed up here before I start body filling. Okay, so I got some good news. We did end up getting the parts guys went looking through some stuff, and we happen to have the side fender here, and it goes down just like that on it. So obviously it's going to get painted too, but I just wanted to show you guys that we did have these, and I'm going to be putting those back on. They actually do look really cool on the bike. So I just wanted to show you, I'm going to be putting those back on. But now I'm going to start tearing off my shifters and the brakes. Before that, I'm going to put a coat of body fill on the fenders and stuff, so I can go ahead and let that dry while I'm doing this. So I'm going to get some body fill made up, and then I'm going to grab some tools, and we'll start getting the brakes and everything off of this, and get it ready to clean up. Okay, so what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start the brakes back here. So I'm going to have to snip a bunch of zip ties going up. That's not a big deal. And it's the only reason I'm doing this is because I want to paint this rear swing arm back here, and I'm also going to be painting the rim. So let's start by taking off my caliper. That's a 12. I don't think I need to paint the brakes. I like the gold, and it's already nice and just needs to be cleaned up. So I can start snipping zip ties as I'm going. And now to keep going on these, there's a lot of little brackets for the hoses. So I'm just going to go along and pull all my hoses off. And then once I get up there, I'm going to take the whole rear assembly off. And I'm going to keep snipping zip ties. I can always put new zip ties on. And I'm going to disconnect my my brake light wire. I'm going to have to get creative to take that out of there. I got it. I get that probably. Yeah, for sure I am. It doesn't matter. I'm taking off the rear tire as well, so it doesn't really make a difference. I'm also going to be putting a little bit bigger shock on the back. we go. There's not going to be much left in this bike other than the motor when I'm done. I'm not going to touch the wiring harness or anything. I don't think I need to. I might go with a flat black maybe on the frame. Not too sure yet. Alright, so I'm going to go to the other side, get started at the... have to take the lights off, all that stuff. I can also remove the signal lights off the back here. So, I'm going to keep going with that. I'm going to give it some tools. I'm going to come over to the other side here, and let's get this swing arm off the back. Once the swing arm's off the back, then I can get the caliper off and all that stuff. I want to remove this rear tire, so I'm going to get that done, and I will return. Okay, so this is just like any other bike. It's just got a regular same type tensioner on it, so I'm going to want to loosen off my tensioner, and I'm actually going to take that nut and loosen it off too. I'm going to do that on both sides. Excuse me, because once I get this off, I'm going to take all the tensioner and stuff and I'm going to put it away. I'm going to keep going with and get the whole swing arm off here, and then we can clean it up and give it a real quick paint and get it back on. I haven't seen a color yet for this, so I'm going to have to make a decision by myself if nobody on TikTok comes up with a color. I've heard deep dark purple, but I'm not a huge fan of purple. I kind of find it's a good color if I was like painting it for my wife's bike, but I'm thinking more along the lines of a green, but I'm not too sure yet. So we'll see what they come up with. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the swing arm off, and I'll be right back. Okay, so before I take the rear swing arm off and everything, what I want to do is I'm already taking off the caliper and the brake line. So now I'm also going to take off the foot pedals. And all these pieces that I'm taking off, I'm either going to clean them up really well, or I'm going to repaint them. Like stuff like that, like the caliper bracket, stuff like that. So I am going to take this off in just one shot. I pressed that a few times. Now I'm going to have to screw. Yeah, that was dumb. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to get this all apart. And so all I need to take it apart, it's pretty easy to do. I need a 10 mil to take this bolt out here. That'll let my piston move. This here just unscrews like this. And that also holds the master cylinder on there. So I can also take, if I can get the socket in there. Yeah. There we go. Okay. so I have to, there's another bolt here that holds this master cylinder off, and I want to take it off too. So I'm going to get everything together to do that, and I will be right back. Okay, so I went and got my big Allen keys. This is probably going to be a 5 or a 6. It's a 6. There we go. Get them on the back of here first. So one on the back of there, maybe as a 5. Yeah, that one's a 5. There we go. The only thing stopping me from taking it off is the hose. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and loosen these. There we go. There we go. Put a little bit of grease in there. I'm going to clean all this up nice too before I put it back together. Remove the pedal from the master cylinder. And now I'm going to have to remove this whole mount here to get this off, so I'm going to leave that just like that for now. And I'm going to go over to the shifter side because I want to take it all off. And first I'm going to put this all, I just want to put this nut with this so I know where it goes. There we go. So I'm going to go to the other side and I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm going to take this shifter all off now too. I really didn't give myself much room to be working on this bike this much on this side, but so this is just a 10 mil. I want to slip the linkage off first. And I'm going to take all that looseness out when I put this all back together. Okay. Now the nut, I'm just going to put right back in that, or the bolt, I'm sorry. All right, so now we can start pulling the mount off. So that's a little bit different. It's not mounted. There's only one, I guess, Allen key on it. those, maybe a 13. Let's see. I was wrong there, 14. Yep. There we go. I'm going to remove this whole bracket here too because it's going to get repainted. So that's probably a 12 right there. Yep. So okay. So all this is to be painted. Okay, so now I'm gonna come over. The bracket. Oh shit. So I've got my rear swing arm off now. What I'm going to do too is I'm also going to change the shock. The shock is a little bit too low for my liking, so I'm going to get one. I have an actual one here, and it's not a new shock, it's just a used one I had from another bike. And so I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put it on. It's a little bit longer, it's about an inch, maybe an inch and a half longer, but I kind of like that so it doesn't have that real low bottom end. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get that started. I'm also going to go ahead, these are all my parts that I'll be painting. I've finished up my body parts. They're all ready for paint now too. So I just have to paint them up. Everything's ready to go. So I'm going to get some paint, and I will give them a scuff before I paint them. But I want to clean up this frame. I'm going to get some brake cleaner. I'm going to clean all this up, get all the dust and grime and grease and everything off it. And like I said, I'm going to be painting all of these parts here. So I just have to see what colors everybody has an idea for, but I'm going to be getting ready to do all that. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning some parts, and you'll see me very shortly. Okay, so here we go. So we've got it down. I've got it stripped down where I want it. Got all my parts off and I'm going to be painting. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be two-toning it. I am swing arm, things like that. It's going to be going a little darker than the that's picked for the bike. All my pieces right here are all ready for the paint. Just waiting on a color. That's all I need. Once I get the color, I'll grab the paint and we'll get started on getting it ready. The original solid part of the bike is going to stay black, but the swing arm is going to change with the paint color. So keep that in mind. Make a decision, folks. So we're back with our villain chopper. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to do a few more things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish cleaning up this frame. I'm going to hit it at a couple shots of paint in different places. I have decided on the color. I think I'm going to go with a neon or like lime green. So I'll throw up a picture here and show everybody what I'm talking about. And that's basically what we're going to try to do. So today I'm going to be cleaning up the exhaust. I'm also going to be probably painting the rims. I want the rims a different color. I'm going to go with a flat black, something really different against the backdrop of the green. So we'll be doing that today. I'm going to be taking this rim here. We'll be cleaning this all up. I'm going to be getting the brake rotor and the sprocket off it and cleaning it up. And we're going to hit it a shot of paint too. And I'm also, like I said, I'm going to clean up all the exhaust and probably hit it a shot of paint too. I like chrome, but this bike's just got too much chrome to it. There's just a lot of chrome on this bike. And I find with chrome mufflers, they never really last and they scratch, and this doesn't look good, so I'm going to change the color on the muffler. Okay, so I just brought the camera over here to the vise for a few minutes. What I'm going to be doing next is I want to clean the front skid plate off. I'm going to clean that all off and I'm going to paint that, so I want it to be all nice and clean and smooth. I'm just going to go ahead and put in my vise here. I'm just going to use my grinder with the wire wheel on it. And of course, it unplug. That's just the way it goes. So I'm going to plug it back in. I'm going to clean this all off nice. Now if you have a look at it, it's nice and shiny again. It's nice and shiny, but again, it's a lot of chrome on this bike, so I'm going to probably go black with this to match the frame. And then again with I'm going to clean up the exhaust the same way. I'll flip that over. I'll do the inside as well. But that cleaned it right up, took all that rust off. But I'm going to get a little bit of paint on there before I fix it up. And then we'll get started. So I'm going to get the exhaust, I'm going to get the exhaust next, and we'll start working on that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cleaning up the whole exhaust system here. I want to get all this stuff off of it. It just needs a good cleanup. So we'll just go along with our grinder here, our wire brush, and I'll clean it all up. Get all that rust off it. Start at the bottom, I guess. I want to get as much as I can before I flip it over. So I'm going to go ahead and keep doing this. And then I'll come back when I'm all done. And we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm back with the Villain Chopper. I cleaned up all the exhaust here. I'm going to paint it, but I don't have the right paint for it. So I'm going to paint it tomorrow. What I'm going to start doing now is I want to get rid of these decals. But once they decaled them, they went ahead and they put a shot of clear coat on. So it's really not easy to get them off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sand them off. I'll get those all nicely sanded off. And I want to do it pretty gently. I haven't tried one yet, so I don't want to leave them on because you'll just see it in the paint. And it'll look weird. It's weird the way they put them on, but I want to get them off. I'm going to try maybe with a knife first and see if I can lift them off. And then I can just sand the outer edge of it. Let me get my tripod here and let's see what we can do. I worked in a body shop a long time ago, and actually you can use a buffer to take off some of these, but this one it's just weird the way they I don't want to cut too far into the paint either. Well, this is going to be a long and tedious job, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just keep cutting it off. It'd leave me a lot less to sand if I can get most of it to come off with my knife. Up a bit, see if I can. No, it's just gonna keep doing that, keep breaking. Yeah, so I have to slowly just keep going across. I'm gonna go grab, I think, a new blade. Something, if I have a new blade, it'd probably be easier. Oh, that one came out a lot better. But I want to be careful that I don't nick the paint like that. I'll have to do a lot of sanding to bring all that back. They are coming off, which is a bonus. That came off fairly good. I'm gonna go get a new blade though, and I'm gonna come right back, and then I'm just gonna keep removing these stickers and decals. Okay, so I went and got a new blade. Now, I went ahead and sanded it off here. I'll sand it a little bit better, but it is gonna work out better like that than if I tried to sand all these stickers off, which would really be no fun at all. So I'm gonna just keep going like this. I have to take all the decals off, even the gas tank, so it. See if I can grab it and pull it off. There we go. That one's off too, so I'll sand it up in a little while. But right now I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to put this one over here. And then I'm going to keep going on this. So just keep an eye out here. You'll see I'll be back very shortly and I'll have most of these done. And then I'll start sanding them. And like I said, then we're going to probably get some paint on in the next day or two. And get everything put back together and get it ready for the summer. And yeah, so I'm going to keep going. I'm going to get all these decals off. Then we're going to go to painting the foot pegs because I want to paint the foot pegs as well. They're going to get painted. The swing arms are going to get painted. The swing arm is going to get painted. The front bracket is going to get painted. Everything's going to get just a nice coat of paint. And it's going to be a nice, I think, like I said, I'm going to go with a neon kind of lime green. And it's going to be amazing. So let's get it fixed up here, and I'm going to start getting these decals off, and I'll be right back. Okay, so what I've done now is I've gotten all the stickers off. I've done most of the sanding to make it flush. So I just want to go to a very light, like a 180 to 200, just to get it all smoothed out. I just want to make sure there's no lip there, so you won't see it in the paint. That's much better. And I did this already with everything else. I will stuff it really good with a nice fine sandpaper when I'm all done. Just like that. Very nice transitions here, you don't feel it too much. Perfect. So now I just have to wait and get paint, and that's it. I can start throwing some paint on this. Like I said, I want to do some parts first. I don't want to just throw paint on it. I want to have some parts like my swing arm and everything is all going to be going green. I'm going to make my foot pegs either black or green. I haven't decided yet, but I want to go ahead and start getting that stuff together. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to have to go actually get the paint, but other than that, I'm pretty well set up to paint. So let's get her started.